Sotha Seal built this place and everything in it, except the people. Well, maybe even a few of them too, by the look.
Are you sure about this, Comet? Remember what happened to your mother?
With the Outsider's help, that treasure is as good as mine. Then everyone will see that the prognosticator is a fraud!
When I asked you to help Comet, this wasn't exactly what I had in mind. I want to see our people abandon the reckless pilgrimage to the Grand Prognosticator. But going after the treasure is just as dangerous, maybe even more so. Comet seeks to replace one foolish pilgrimage with another. Very well. I can tell you that the treasure exists. I've seen the wreckage of the merchant caravan myself, but getting close enough to recover it, impossible. Because of the massive fabricate that prowls the area. Gear Grinder is bigger than 3 brawny Nords and 100 times more dangerous. It slaughtered the pilgrims that attempted to recover the treasure. I was the only survivor. I'm still uncomfortable with all this, but I can see that you and Comet are determined. The wreckage lies scattered far to the south, near the mountains that form the southern border of the radius. Gear Grinder is a killer. Please, keep Comet safe. Before you go, Comet mentioned you found Malia's journal. He said it contained a passphrase and mentioned Sotha Seal's honored assistant. Is that true? I'm sorry to say that when I was a young man, I came across a sequence plaque that belonged to one of Sotha Seal's original assistants, an apostle called Albacron. The plaque contained a series of passphrases. That's how I found the lost treasure. They allowed me to change the nature of my pilgrimage. I was able to get the prognosticator to tell me how to locate the lost treasure of the radius, thus altering my future. Or so I hoped. But the fabricant, maybe our fates are set after all. I'm not sure how I feel, not anymore. But I didn't give Malia the passphrase. She must have found the plaque where I hid it. Maybe if she hadn't... When you return from the wreckage, if you return, I'll tell you more about the passphrases.
big family, you have to know how to scrap.
That creature. It's even worse than Palbatin told us. Look, I appreciate all the help, but I don't want to see you die on my behalf. Are you sure you can deal with that beast? I'm no warrior, you know that. Without you, we wouldn't have gotten this far. I'll stay out of the way, so don't worry about me. Just be safe out there and try not to die. You did it! Thanks to you, we found the lost treasure. This proves the prognosticator isn't an oracle. It's just a machine, and not a very good one at that. Now I can show the people of Slagtown that we're not prisoners to destiny. Yes, my friend, spices. Wonderful, delicious spices. That's the most valuable treasure of all, when your diet consists of nothing but flavorless paste. This will not only improve our lives, it will show my people that our fate is not set in stone. More than that, spices are as rare as a blade of grass in a city of metal. Wealthy mages and apostles will pay dearly for such a tempting treat. But I need to be cautious. Others will try to steal this treasure. I need to hide it to keep it safe. Return to Slagtown and meet me there. Then we can show my people how we changed the outcome of the prognosticator's prediction and improved my destiny. I just wish my mother had lived to see this day.
I wonder why Lord Set made so many creations that imitate life. Because he could, to better understand them? You'd probably just walk up and ask.
I've called a few people together so I can tell them what we've done. Hopefully, word will then spread throughout Slagtown and all of the Brass Fortress. Palbatin and I talked about my mother. We don't think she saw the prediction from the Oracle. We think she was out there trying to do the same thing as me. She was trying to figure out how the prognosticator works so she could get it to change our fortunes. Palbatin believes she acquired the passphrase from the sequence plaque he hid away. That's our best guess. She was trying to help us. All of us. I just wish she had told me. That she hadn't tried to do it on her own. Well, thanks to you, I succeeded where she failed. Now we just have to convince the rest of Slagtown. Art. That's not something you hear a lot about in a place that runs on gears and cogs. Here. This is your share of the treasure. You earned it. Oh, and Palbatin wants you to meet him in the Outlaw's Refuge afterward. He has something for you, too. People of Slagtown, I bring you a revelation. The prognosticator lies, but we can change our fortunes. We have free will.
Comet, the apostles say there's no such thing as free will.
What you're implying is heresy, Comet.
Is it heresy to speak the truth? I performed the pilgrimage. I received the usual grim fortune that predicted I'd be poor until I died. But that future is a false future. I refused to accept that fate, and I changed it. And if I can do it, so can you.
Oh, really? You look just as destitute as you did yesterday, Comet. Maybe even more so.
I found the lost treasure of the Radius. I made a deal to sell some of the spices, and this is the contract. I'm rich!
So we can change our fate? The future isn't a set sequence?
We have to tell everyone. Comet changed the future. The prognosticator was wrong.
Don't give up on me yet, Kara. I think I'm getting close.
Bren, this stew tastes like it was steeped in rusty nuts. Maybe we should just stick to eating the paste. It's not so bad eating the same soft, bland mush every meal, forever.
Come in search of a hot meal? Hard to come by here, I know, but mark my words, one day there'll be more than just the aroma of bubbling brass wafting out of Slagtown. People are going to come from far and wide to try what's making it. Or a mud mixer. Might as well be the same thing most days. Getting ingredients that pass for edible is a challenge in Slagtown. Solus Romathron's got real mushrooms he's been dangling in front of me, but he won't sell to the likes of us. Really? Well, if you got me some fresh ones from the halls of regulation, that'd be a start. But they aren't much good like that. Solus has some trick to making them edible he keeps closely guarded. Maybe you could pilfer his secret recipe for me? Mind yourself around Solus. He's a mean one with friends in high places. Helps him keep his monopoly on the mushroom trade. He won't take kindly to anyone poking around. Oh, he's the type to keep records on anything he considers worth remembering, especially if it can make him a profit. I'm sure he's got his notes tucked away in his office, maybe even under lock and key. Be best not to mention us, then. It wouldn't help your case being associated with Slagtowners. I'd hate to see you get in trouble on our account, but we're just scraping by, you understand? Oh, I reckon anything that can grow here is special, but from what I gather, they got real flavor. Might even be strong enough to take the edge off fabricant meat. I've tried, but no amount of boiling, chopping, or mashing did the trick. Those mushrooms are tougher than shoe leather and full of spores any way you dice them. Besides, they're hard enough to come by without me wasting them on trial and error. Can't really say that any of the Tinkerer's creations were designed with edibility in mind, but there's only so much of that mushy food paste a person can eat in one lifetime. I was raised on the stuff and I can barely stand it. Doesn't make me much of a wood elf, does it? All my parents used to talk about over dinner was the wild game from home. Everyone from outside gets the same look in their eye when talking about their favorite meal. It's why I took up cooking. Don't I know it? But if I can make the days a little easier for even one person, it'll be worth it. And if I only wind up making something so bad the paste is good by comparison, well, that's a victory in a way, right?
I miss roasting pupil squibs over a fire. So sweet and airy, with a hint of crunch.
I'm known as the deputy around here. Funny, I know, having such a title among a group of no-good.
I don't know why Brent's so obsessed with trying to get folk down here, when we should be trying to get up out of this gutter.
This one doesn't have much, but her space she values.
Sorry for the clandestine request, but I have words meant for your ears only. What you and Kamid learned, what he convinced Slagtown about the Grand Prognosticator, well, it's not entirely accurate. No, you figured out how the Prognosticator makes its predictions, but the factotum has a defect, a sequencing error, as it were. You see, it can also actually prophesy the future. The pilgrimage needed to be discredited. People were going out into the Vale and getting killed for no good reason. But just because the message has been corrupted, doesn't mean the messenger wasn't worth listening to. Because the people of Slagtown never had the right passphrase. Malia jotted the one for the analyst in her journal, but she made no mention of the one for the prognosticator. I had it, though. That's why my fortune was different. Then it's even more imperative that I give you the plaque. The prognosticator must have a prophecy to reveal, but it won't speak unless you provide the proper passphrase. Take the honored assistant's plaque and learn the fate that awaits you.
How the Tribunal Temple feels about the Clockwork Apostles. Actually, I wonder if they even know they exist. We're in a whole other world.
I have important business back in Vardenfell. I can't be late. I need to leave.
Forward, it cries. Forward to the fruits of cheap ambition. Forward to the promise of everlasting kingdoms.
Will you stop mocking me?
You're Lord Fear's newest steward, huh? Could we talk later? If I don't finish this lamp inventory, Gascon will feed me to the fabricants. Yeah, Gascon must know how much I love doing paperwork. A few days ago, Sothe the Seal ordered us to rip out all the lamps in here and replace them with less efficient ones. What kind of sense does that make? Who wants weaker lamps? A bunch of factotums loaded them onto a dolly and dumped them somewhere in the mechanical fundament. Hey, I know that look. If you're looking to poach a free lamp, don't bother. Gascon made us slag them all. And that's not even the worst part. Half the old switches don't work with the new lamps, so we've had to manufacture new switches, and half the time the switches get installed backwards, which means we have to do it all over again. Even the factotums don't know what they're doing. And don't even get me started on the lamp assembly. Sothe the Seal could have turned the fabricators to make the new lamps with a flick of his finger, but he demanded that we do it instead. Do you have any idea how complex the fabricators are?
So you're the one Devaith tapped to be his aide in the Brass Fortress. Sorry to hear that. Provost Varuni's ancestors hail from House Telvanni, just like Lord Fear. But honestly, they couldn't be more different. Not as bad as you might expect. She's young, youth comes with impatience, but I've never felt unfairly judged, and she's generous with her praise. Honestly, if I had the choice between serving Varuni or Sotha Seal, I'd take Varuni every time. Now more than ever, I don't pretend to understand his motives, but he's never been so demanding. One example? He insists that we turn all the lights down before he enters a room. Do you have any idea how difficult that is? It's maddening! Huh, flipping switches. That's rich. Each lamp has its own switch, and some lamps have multiple switches. And if that isn't bad enough, some switches control multiple lamps. He's a god, I know, but it shouldn't take a genius to turn on the lights. Don't even get me started. Varuni might demand some obscure tome in the middle of the night or chide someone for leaving oil on the floor, but that's the worst of it. Sotha Seal exiled an auxiliary last week because she forgot to switch off a lamp. Right, don't let me keep you. I can't imagine how demanding Devaith Fear must be. Better you than me, that's for sure. Keep your nose to the cogs and you'll be fine. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to flip 24 switches again.
So you're Devaithir's new auxiliary, eh? Tough luck, friend. I've heard he's an insufferable bastard, but at least he's not Sotha Seal. Better to be turned into a guar than to serve the clockwork god. Not anymore. In the old days, sure, he was easy to please because he was never around. These days, he changes his mind about something every night. Constant meetings, new dictums daily, adjustments to factotum patrols. It's a nightmare. Trust me, this is unprecedented. I'm afraid something's wrong with his enhancements. Like he's having trouble regulating. He's a different person, I swear. Don't tell anyone I said this, especially Gascon. Blasphemy doesn't go over well nowadays. Yes, speaking ill of a god never turns out well. In the old days, he'd take it in stride. Commit your small blasphemies, he'd say. The fire of doubt turns ignorance to steam, but not anymore. This place is becoming more like Mournhold every day. Right. I'm sure you have plenty of work to do for Lord Fear. He's back a few days and already burying you in paperwork, no doubt. Take care of yourself, friend.
May Seth's divine clockworks protect you.
Were you treated well by the menials? I assume they battered you with complaints. What have you learned? Yes, well, I could have told you that. That's why I sent you here after all. What kinds of demands? Be specific. The lamps in the locutorium, yes? The large assembly room over there? The auxiliaries and factotums have been laboring in there day and night ever since we arrived. Curious. What could lights have to do with this? Impressive. I assumed I'd have to explain it to you. Of course, this requires a functional lamp. I assume he ordered them destroyed. Speak to that high elf of yours, Neramo. The dark elf as well. We need one of these lamps, repaired and operable.
I have important business back in Vardenfell. I can't be late. I need to leave.
Forward, it cries. Forward to the fruits of cheap ambition. Forward to the promise of everlasting kingdoms.
Will you stop mocking me?
wait to take a load off at the inn.
Ah, I hope to see you again, Assistant. Pray tell, what did De Vaith Fear have to say? I fear that he and I might have gotten off to a poor start. Did he ask about me? Any mention of my many exploits? Raynor? Surely this is something I can handle myself. Impressing De Vaith Fear could greatly increase my standing in the Dwemer scholarly community. Tell me, what does Lord Fear ask of me? Us? He just wants us to build a lamp? What an odd request. No matter. I would be happy to offer my ample expertise, provided you let De Vaith Fear know that I did so. First...
What do you want?
swear... Oh! Who would you be? Did the Clockwork Apostles send you? Oh, well, because the halls of regulation is breaking down. Naturally. I sent a request for aids ages ago. They would have fixed things by now, but the repair factotums keep attacking me. They see anyone who enters as an intruder. Truly? Why, that's most excellent. Now, the very fate of Clockwork City's clean water supply rests in our hands, so we must act quickly. I know the locations of the machines in need of repairs, but we'll have to search around for specific parts. Based on the schematics, I believe the vapor manifold and distillation initiator both need repairs. Easy enough for one of my talents. We just need a ventilation gear and a cleansing crystal. They should be fairly straightforward to find. Right. I suppose any structure as impressive as this would inspire questions. Well, ask them quickly. Time is of the essence, and the Clockwork Apostles aren't very lenient when it comes to failure. Perhaps you haven't noticed, but the water around here is filthier than the Murkmire's swamps. Take a sip from any stream or pool and you'll get a mouthful of oil. That's where the halls of regulation comes into play. Collects, cleans, redistributes, does it all really. It also creates water moisture in the air, producing a hospitable environment for natural life. I'm not sure if we would die of thirst or desiccation first, were it to completely shut down. I'm not sure, actually. My most prevailing theory is that the newcomers have overburdened the water cycle process, which has led to some sort of malfunction. At this point, the factotums are doing more harm than good with their erratic behavior. Perhaps the water cycle will shut down completely, but it's more likely that contaminants will pollute the drinking reserve, which would make the water effectively poison. I'm sure you don't need me to spell out what a disaster that would create. The Clockwork Apostles are a group of scholars dedicated to Sotha Seal. They are the de facto rulers of Clockwork, given that their god of mysteries doesn't get out much. Naturally, they would be concerned that their drinking water is in danger. Well, how was I? I mean, how were they supposed to know the factotums would malfunction and become aggressive? According to the schematics, they're designed to repair the halls of regulation, not defend it. I most certainly can. I learned all about their functions before arriving. Which would you like to hear about first? These gears help run the vapor manifold, the central control for the humidifying processes of the halls of regulation. It seems that the malfunction is causing them to spin far too rapidly, grinding them down to an unusable state. Of course not. I'll make the necessary repairs first and then replace the gear. It should go as smoothly as a piston in a reciprocating pneumatic cylinder. It's the main source of arcane energy for the distillation initiator. The filtration system can only decontaminate the water so much. This ensures that water is safe for human consumption, a vitally important part of the distillation process. The currently placed cleansing crystal is still active, but I don't believe that will be the case for very long, which means we should make the necessary repairs post-haste.
You fetcher! Not carefully. Repair fact. You know, I like to think I'm agreeable. All prepared. Hey, stick with me. This is just what the distillation initiator needs. I'm glad we could find one in such good condition. They're coming for us. Based on the schematic. No, I guess it wouldn't. Maybe they should try that. For a moment there, I was worried that the factotums had whisked them all away. What a lucky find. Stand back while I make the necessary repairs. I should be done in but a moment. I mean, no worries. I meant to do that. just need to replace the crystal without causing irreversible damage. No problem. It worked? I mean, of course it worked. I knew what I was doing the entire time. We have but one more task ahead. The geotic dynamo that fuels the galvanic engine needs to be replaced. However, it's located in the regulation chamber, which is protected by a guardian factotum. You'll have to fend it off if I'm to make repairs. What? What a silly question. It's malfunctioning, of course. Just like the repair factotums. The Apostles didn't even know there were issues when they sent me here for routine maintenance. Obviously, they weren't aware of the malfunctions. Oh, I'm certain you'll have to. But trust me when I say that factotum is doing more harm than good. If we let it be, then it will just destroy all the repairs I've set into place. I'm sure of it. But I think we'll be given a choice. I'm very certain. If we don't fix the galvanic engine, then there's a strong possibility that the entire system will shut down. This is the most crucial repair yet. Please, you've trusted me this far. Just one more fix and we'll be in the clear. I think I'll just stay out here until you've dealt with our little friend, just as a precaution. Certainly looks like the galvanic engine that I'm going to fix now. Right now. Here I go. And this goes here, and then, of course, this goes over here, and if I just put this here, it's fixed? It's fixed! Yes! My plan worked. Clockwork Apostles will have to accept me now. Can't believe we were actually able to do it. The halls of regulation are up and running again. Our repairs won't hold forever, but I should be able to maintain function in the meanwhile. Oh, there's absolutely no need to concern yourself about that. I assure you, all that matters is that the Brass Fortress will have water tonight because of us. Am I right? Here, you've been such a great help. You should be properly rewarded. Isn't there some other adventure you should be off to? Oh, Tilly, why did you open your stupid mouth? Look, I was honest about the halls of regulation needing repair, and every danger I outlined was of immediate concern. However, I may have embellished my connections with the Apostles. Well, I suppose that I had a connection at all. When I arrived in Clockwork, I was immediately drawn to the Apostles. I knew they could help me strengthen not only my magic, but also my technical skills, which are already quite impressive. Exactly so. It seems dark elf blood runs a little deeper here than they'd like to admit. I was an outsider, and compared to many here, my magic is still weak at best. I'm sure my round ears also didn't help make an impression, but I was determined. I found the schematics in a public depository and decided to research the mechanics in order to build upon my technical proficiency, perhaps even make some improvements. I thought it might give me the edge I needed to join the Apostles. I really am sorry about that. I panicked when you showed up and thought you might inform the Apostles. I wanted at least a chance to make repairs. And it all worked out in the end. Positive. I have a far better understanding of the mechanics now, and within a few weeks, I'll have a permanent repair. That's when I'll report my success to the Apostles. Thank you for helping me accomplish this. It truly means the world to me.
I can no longer detect a danger to Clockwork City. Verified. The Daedric incursions have been dealt with. Thank you for completing this task in a timely manner. Clockwork City is now safe because of your actions. Here is your reward.
I wonder why Lord Set means so many...
He's not looking, is he?
It's all right. Let it all out. I tried.
Hello again, friend. Don't mind the smell, just baking up a sort of clay souffle. Really scraping the bottom of the ingredient barrel right now. Any luck with those mushrooms? That's great! Let's have a look, eh? Boy, that slimy son of a script. He's been lying through his teeth. I could have been growing these mushrooms the whole time. Still, his pickling recipe is just what I needed to make use of them. Great work. I hate the way people look down on Slag Towners. Maybe it's not enough that I help feed these people something worth eating. We're always going to be struggling until the snooty folks on high see we have something to contribute. Produce something that doesn't just help us get by, but makes people up top take notice. I'd love to take something from my homeland and give it its own Slag Town flair. We had some root liqueur that would have been perfect, but we drank all we had. No, I can't imagine how hard something like that is to come by in Clockwork City. Maurice never did say how he came by a case of it, but I'm not one to pry. Couldn't hurt to do some asking around though, right? I really appreciate you volunteering for all this. Not many in Clockwork City who'd stop to spit on us down here, let alone do us a kindness. Oh yes, uncommon stuff. Created by Bosmer ages ago in secret using Elden Root clippings. Blasphemous against the Green Pact, they say. Me? I don't think I've ever even seen the color green. Never had the stuff before I stumbled on Maurice's stash. Well, it's pretty sweet, you see, and almost syrupy as it is. Reckon it'd make a great base for marinade. Much better than boiler coolant, that much I'm certain. Another slag like me. I'm sure you've seen him around and never noticed him. That's just how it goes for us. He's an ambitious sort, always hoping to find a way out of his position down here. I cheer him up whenever his plans fall through. That case he had stashed was a once-in-a-lifetime find, he said. He was gonna sell it to a buyer and leave this all behind, but the deal fell through. So we wound up drinking the whole thing as a pick-me-up. Foolish. Fun, but foolish. When you put it like that, it does seem like a lot to take on. But hey, I don't think they could think any less of us as it is, so no harm in trying.
Hey, Bren, maybe send your friend to the guild traders. They traffic in all sorts.
Not a bad idea. They wouldn't give us the time of day, but I bet they'd be eager to help a cutting figure such as yourself.
Think I'm gonna take a stroll. A little smoky in here. No offense.
I'll be here, airing the place out, if you have any luck with those guild traders.
The Tribunal Temple feels about the Clockwork Apostles. Actually, I wonder if they even know they exist. We're in a whole other world.
Hey, you. Working with Brengelin. Come this way. I overheard you talking to Bren about the root liquor, and I had to intervene before you took off on some wild guar chase. Oh, I know you won't. That rare stock was a batch of counterfeit hooch I was trying to pass off on a wealthy mark, but she caught wise. When Bren got into it, I didn't have the heart to tell him it wasn't the real thing. I only made one batch. Suppose I could, but I based it off stuff that isn't easily come by. A part of the mix is Wellspring hooch, and I have on good authority that some students of the catalog of rote duplication keep a stash. Off limits, but that's not the hard part. The other main ingredient can't be found in Clockwork City. Stuff was stolen from the private reserve of some silk shirt in Port Hunding. Even if you could get out of this ticking prison, you'd have to smuggle a crate of the stuff back here. Believe you when I see it. If you do pull it off, meet me in Slagtown.
Yourself a bounty!
I refuse to see an alchemist. You wanted me to... The next time you're helping me with something.
So the seal built this place and everything in it. Except the people. Well, maybe even a few of them too, by the look.
You, find the little thing we talked about? Phew, you really are something. How'd you wind up in a dump like this? Give me a minute to cut this. Little boiler coolant gives it some bite. And there. Genuine Elden Root liquor. Promise you'll keep this between us? I like Bren too much to break his heart. He tries so hard to keep us in good spirits. I'll get out of here before you give it to him.
Hello again, friend. Interest you in a rust crumble cake? It's not so bad once you get past the taste. Texture's nice. This is incredible. Where did you find it? I hope it wasn't too much trouble. Promise I'll stretch this bottle long as it'll last, now that I know better. Now that I got the base for a marinade, it'd be nice to have something to use it on. I'm afraid I used the last of the meat in our larder on that misbegotten stew. Well, that'd be great, but it'll be dangerous. Fabricated critters out in the wild are just as mean as the real thing. Real tender around the flanks, though. Maybe because the machine bits are doing all the work. About a dozen ought to last us a while. One more thing, a special request. Tuba B loved Nick Sound meat before she wound up here. Brethe Rudarum raises the best you can find, but I can't afford his prices. I'd really like to impress her, and I know where he keeps his stash. You really are the best. Bretheru keeps his fresh meat in an airtight trunk at his stables until he's ready to either cook it or preserve it. If he just nick a little, he does well for himself, probably won't even miss it. Oh, well, I mean, you could, sure. It's just, I could never pay you back for something like that. Just one cut costs more than I'll even have in my life down here. Everybody down here is special to me. We're all we've got. But I do guess I got a soft spot for her. She's never once complained about my cooking. Even when I know it's eye-wateringly bad, it's always, thank you, and a scratch behind the ears. Only that they're probably more dangerous than your average beastie, but I'd be pretty fearless about what I'd try to take a bite out of if I had metal teeth, too. Be careful. I'd feel terrible if you got hurt on account of me.
The seal built this place and everything in it. Except the people. Well, maybe even a few of them too, by the look.
These Nix hounds may be part... These Nix hounds may be part machine, but they're all animal at heart. I care for them the best I can and love them while they're living, but even I have to put food on the table. If I do, it's mostly a coincidence. They're hand-raised, mostly just for my own needs, but I'll sell off some surplus now and again. Takes a lot of effort, so I don't part with it cheap. I can fetch some from my larder, if it's worth it to you. You'll never find meat more mercifully raised, I'll promise you that. Might put this toward new bedding for Twitchy and Hopper. Take care now.
Some people don't like the bustle of cities, but I come from a big family, so it reminds me of home. What?
All right, you pile of bolts. Let's run through it one more time.
What am I running it through?
Inventory, of course.
Understood. I will run through the inventory.
Saw do not take me now.
Hello there. Are you here in response to the bulletin about my factotum research? Fantastic. Now let me fill you in on the details. I found this factotum head in a junk pile, which isn't too uncommon for the brass fortress. I was intrigued, however, by its strange coloring. I was even more intrigued when it began to speak to me. It gave a repeated message, requesting to find its integral of memory in the mnemonic planisphere. That's where you come in. I need an adventuring sort to journey to the planisphere in order to find this component. Are you still interested? The journey to the mnemonic planisphere is riddled with dangers, so it's best to prepare. Shouldn't be any issues once you head inside, though. My research leads me to believe the integral of memory will resemble a crystal. Would you believe that the apostles don't know how to create factotums? That was a rhetorical question. The sad truth is that while we apostles can create metal limbs and motors, we cannot replicate the intelligence Sotha Seal gave the factotums. We're also unable to enter the factories where they're created. Why does Lord Set do anything? He's the father of mysteries, after all. Through his silence, curiosity is born. Perhaps he meant for us apostles to figure this one out on our own. And I believe I've finally found a breakthrough with this factotum. Firstly, I already know it is an older, simpler model. You can see the dwarven influences in the skull. An aesthetic blight by today's standards. We apostles see dwarves as a race to scorn, not emulate. This model must predate that thinking. Secondly, unlike other factotums, it openly speaks of its components. Trust me, I've interrogated many of these machines in the name of my research. Perhaps as we reconstruct its mind, it will tell us details about its creation. Well, its voice. Factotums are genderless machines, of course, but they all sound distinctly female. This one is the first I've met to have a male voice. I'm not sure what it means, but I am sure I'll find answers as I further my research.
I should have joined the buoyant armigers. Don't like your odds.
Come inside. Cultists have knocked the stars from our sky, and we have to put them back before all Lord Set's memories are taken for good. Oh, drat. Look, it's easier to explain once we're inside the mnemonic planisphere. That's where Lord Set stores his memories by... well, it's just easier to show you for... Yes, exactly. You're a quick learner. I need someone who can fight off these cultists and help me return the stars to the planisphere sky. Please, you have to help us. This task... Quickly, follow me! The planisphere's right through this door. Astronomer! I found someone who can help us! Are you alright? Please, rest if you need it.
I have maintained these stars for millennia. Do not concern yourself.
Yes, much easier to explain now. This is the mnemonic planisphere, where Sotha sealed memories take the form of stars. We need your help to reclaim the stars that have fallen and place them back in the sky. If not, all this knowledge! Sotha seal's memories are our most important source of inspiration, of discovery. Without them, the Clockwork Apostles will be lost, stagnant and unguided. Please, for the sake of our most sacred... Thank you for understanding what this means to my order. I need you to gather the primary stars belonging to the points of our constellations. Once enough stars are returned to the rightful place, the rest should fall into ranks. Eventually. With this. Now, this device has a very fancy, proper name, but I simply call it the Star Scooper. Use it to gather the stars you see floating around the halls, and bring it back here to the astronomer. He'll know what to do next. Questions? Let's say there's a memory that Lord Set wishes to store. First he turns the memory into a star, which forms in an associated constellation chamber. A powerful spell will form in the Mage's Wing, a great victory in the Warriors. Exactly so. It then travels to the Planisphere Center, where we teach the star its place in the sky. We send it to a forming room if Lord Set wishes to access the memory, or for apostles to study from. Each star has wisdom to share. Well, that would certainly complicate things. Lord Set still remembers, but in a distant way. He can analyze these memories rationally, without their emotional attachments clouding his divine judgment. At least, that's what the astronomer told me. Astronomer is the title given to the caretaker of the planisphere. Astronomer, stars, you know. The current astronomer has been around almost as long as the Clockwork City has. The blessings of a god really can do wonders for your lifespan. Why, I'm his apprentice. Sorry, should have led with that. He only recently chose me as his replacement, though I'm not sure this is a position you can just retire from, if you catch my drift. I suppose even a god's blessing can only last so long. Oh, all a matter of perspective here in Clockwork, age and whatnot. I assure you I've always been quite diligent in my studies, and the astronomer says I show promise. Well, I mean, he hasn't outright said that to me, but I just get that feeling.
asking. That was a bit of a warm-up. Off with you, Squid! I'm still here. Thanks for asking.
You've returned! Quickly now, give the Star Scooper to the astronomer. You're in for a real treat. Not many get to witness this. Oh dear, that's not good. That's not good at all. Sorry, but I have to go check on something. The astronomer will explain.
6 stars refuse to answer my call, and the primary constellations remain incomplete. Their instability threatens the integrity of the entire planisphere. Unless returned, I fear all memories will be lost, even to the clockwork god himself. The planisphere was created as an extension of Lord Seth's consciousness. Connected, yet apart. An endless sky of divine knowledge, perfectly preserved. We must protect the planisphere at all costs. We must. Memories are fragile, easily broken, easily swayed. My powers of guidance and preservation are not so easily replicated. The cultists seek to control, but only corrupt. I must stay here to keep the constellations stable. It is up to you. Go to the calibration guides located upon the platforms which surround us. Use them to guide the missing stars back to their rightful place in the sky. My apprentice will show you how. I see questions are burning within you. Ask, and I may answer. They seek to control the planisphere, and believe these stars will help them with that task. The corruption is merely a result of trying to view the memory without my aid. Clockwork City was created by a god of reason. Here, knowledge is power. To control the planisphere would be to control the omni-axle, the center of the wheel. The means to change the very reality we know. A dangerous power. I am the astronomer, keeper of the stars. A wheel that ever turns. It goes beyond my own mere flesh. Soon, my apprentice will receive this title, and I will take my final step upon this path. I have upheld this divine task for millennia. My devotion may be unwavering, but my flesh is not. I must give this duty to another before my power fades. Only then will I allow myself to finally rest. Do not let her cheerful demeanor fool you. Her magic is strong, and her connection to the stars is uncommonly clear. Within her, I have found the successor I've searched centuries to find. And she takes great pride in that. My apprentice is an oddity among our order, yet refuses to change. A stubbornness that will serve her well, or perhaps be her undoing. We shall see. I know her devotion to be unwavering, for the planisphere would cease to be without an astronomer to guide it. I only have so much power left within me. She will do what is best for her god and her people. In that, I have faith.
That's interesting.
Scooper kept a record of what was inside those stars. Let's have a look, shall we? A fragment in memory of Lord Set speaking to someone. This must have been what the cultists were looking for.
Stewardship of my memories carries a high price, all of us. One that you must pay willingly.
Wait, was that the astronomer? He was so young! And with hair! Not half bad looking either. Last of them? Oh, thank feck. Good team.
So be it. I'll leave you the knowledge of this spell to bestow upon your successor when the time comes.
Maybe the cultists want to learn how to perform the spell.
How dare you get in the way of our mistress's plans? Attack!
Enemy is this way. You know, I like to think I'm agreeable.
Fight now!
You lead.
The planet fear is ours, Kerr!
Just a moment. Let me concentrate.
I understand. I'd sacrifice anything to serve you, my lord.
Sacrifice? Well, that doesn't sound very good. We've collected all the memory fragments we need. Let's head back to the Planisphere Center so we can watch the whole thing.
We can use that to our advantage. Kagranak's machines.
Now that we've returned the stars and recovered the memory fragments, the astronomer can use the nemograph here to play the full memory back. I'm rather curious about its contents. We need to be able to reform memories at a moment's notice. After all, apostles often travel from the Brass Fortress to research Lord Set's thoughts. This nemograph translates the starlight into a visual form. I just know it's him. It looks like he's receiving some sort of boon from Lord Set, but I don't understand why that would be important to the cultists. I doubt you can easily replicate the powers of a god, even with the memory of the spell.
Stewardship of my memories carries a high price, all of us. One that you must pay willingly.
I understand. I'd sacrifice anything to serve you, my lord. Even my memory.
Wait, the
So be
sacrifice
it.
is his
I'll
memory?
leave you the knowledge of this spell to bestow upon your successor when the time comes.
Of course, my lord, but will it hurt?
You will not remember.
No! It can't
Now you know the truth. It is time.
be! You never told me of this sacrifice! My life, yes, I'll give it. But my mind, my whole being...
Speak with her.
duty. My whole life has been devoted to this path laid before me. I know the risks, the repercussions to the planisphere should I refuse, the repercussions to my god. Why then? Why am I so scared? Manipulating the stars requires severe concentration. They're easily corrupted by stray thoughts, rendering them useless. Not having a memory must help ease that burden. The excitement of becoming an apostle, my frustration when so many doubted me, how nervous I was for my first kiss. To give it all away, I would lose more than my memories. I would lose myself. I know the astronomer's power is fading. I feel it. He needs to transfer his power, and soon. If he dies before another apprentice could be found, the planisphere needs me. My god needs me. Can I really be so selfish? You're right. It's too late to turn back now. People depend on me. My god depends on me. Would you come with me? I may not remember you being there, but it would be a comfort all the same. I've decided. I will become the next astronomer. I give myself willingly to serve the chrononymic will as it has seen fit.
So be it. I'll start the process now. Take care of the planisphere. And yourself as well, Amelie. I can finally rest.
What was I? Oh, a visitor. The mnemonic planisphere welcomes you, traveler. Due to the recent attack, we are not holding memory viewings. You'll have to return at another time. How strange. I feel a sense of gratitude towards you, though I'm not... Ah, so you have. You have the gratitude of the Clockwork Apostles. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must inspect the memories to see if they were damaged by the attack. You would be surprised how fragile they can be. I thank you once more for aiding us in our time of need. May your thoughts be clear and your heart ever oiled. I know we haven't met before, but I feel a sense of familiarity with you. Odd how you sometimes get that feeling with strangers. The cultists have corrupted many stars in their search for control. I need time to restore the memories and guide them to their proper place in the planisphere sky. Hopefully, it shall not take me too long. There's not much I can do at the moment. My focus must go towards tending to the corrupted stars and protecting the planisphere from further damage. Until the integrity of these sacred halls are upheld, the cultists will just have to wait.
Capable, combat-ready individuals are needed to complete an important task. Reflecting. Lord Set has developed a combat-enabled machine named the Imperfect. It requires a variety of challenges to test its weaknesses and improve capabilities. With each defeat, more is learned. Travel to the Sanctuary of... I am able to give...
The Clockwork Apostles have need of someone with your skills. If you could spare the time, we'll pay you for your efforts. A good rate, if I do say so myself. And Adjunct Darrow has spoken highly of you. Adjunct Darrow sent Initiate Favar into the Shadow Cleft to perform a thorough analysis with his perception tabulator. He had some sort of malfunction, though. and left the device behind. Worse, There hasn't been this much trouble in the Clockwork City.
Oh, hey, friend. Was hoping to see you again. Was just popping up for some fresh-ish air, and what do I find but the tangy smell of fresh meat? Looks like you've had some luck at the butcher's. Perfect. I can take that off your hands now. Gonna need to give it a good soak in that marinade before I can get dinner started. Come by later and I'll have something to thank you for all this good effort. I insist. All right, friends. The guest of honor has arrived. I've cooked up something special for you all. Soon to be favorites, I'm sure. For you, Kara, a mushroom-filtered meat stew. No more of that overwhelming metallic tang, I promise. And for you,
I miss
Maurice,
roasting
root
people's
liqueur,
squibs over a
marinated
fire.
fabric chop, neatly
Sweet
braised.
and airy,
Soon to put
with a hint of
Slagtown on the
crunch.
culinary map. And finally, Tubaby, the crown jewel of my feast. Hand-fed Nix fillets in a mushroom and root liqueur reduction.
Oh, you shouldn't have.
And for my newest friend, I have a special treat. I never would have been able to concoct any of these wonderful dishes without you. And you've clearly got an appreciation for food. So, I've conjured up a unique recipe to help you through your time in Clockwork City. I hope you enjoy it. Nothing too difficult, I promise. Most of the ingredients should be readily available in Clockwork City, so you shouldn't have to jump through any more hoops for a decent meal.
All right. Here goes.
Might need a little nip of that liquor after this. Delicious.
Hey, Bren, this is good. You did it.
Oh, my. There is a hint of home in this. Thank you.
Why Lord Set made so many creations that imitate life? Because he could, to better understand them? You'd probably just walk up and ask.
My house has been covered in crow droppings for days now. It's like those skeevers take personal offense to cleanliness. I can't...
but now I'm going to.
Memory detected. Would you be so kind as to insert it into my forehead ridge?
You've returned in one piece. How gleaming! In your absence, I've set up a framework to contain the factotum while we assemble its parts. I'll have you do the honors. Of installing the integral of memory. You heard the head? Insert the crystal into its forehead ridge. And don't worry, you won't break it. Sotha Seal builds his creations to last.
To the left, please. Your left, not mine. Reflecting. Oh, I feel positively spring-loaded now. What a kind, generous apostle you are, which I recall is rather strange. Reflecting. I've come to the conclusion that I am. I have no memory stored of any of my kind who are older, so I conclude that I must be the first. How gleaming. I cannot recall my name, but you may call me Precursor. Of course, let me check my integral of memory. Should be right. Great Sotha Seal in the sanctum! Someone's tampered with my crystalline memory matrix. But wait, something's burned in here. I seem to have left a note for myself. Ahem. Salutations, me. By now you must be wondering what happened to our memory. Dark forces have conspired to corrupt our knowledge of the world. But do not fear. I, the past you, have stored our memory in our other parts. A circumstance I have not accounted for. This is me now, not the message. I recall that my design includes both Dwemer and clockwork parts. I also recall my blueprint, so I can guide my assembly once you find my parts. Sotha Seal guide you, Apostle. I don't quite understand. I function only to know my Lord Sotha Seal and his apostles. You are not my lord, and thus you must be an apostle. Simple. Do you have an inquiry, or perhaps a task for me, Apostle?
Astounding! The first factotum Sotha Seal created. We simply must complete construction now. The more memory it recalls, the further my research can develop. Council seat, here I come! The Precursor mentioned he was made of clockwork and Dwemer parts. I'd keep an eye out for the former as you travel around Clockwork City, and search Dwemer ruins out in Tamriel for the latter. And of course, I have your reward as promised.
Apostle, I have remembered something. Come quickly before it rusts. My integral of calculus lies deep within the mechanical fundament, suspended over a river of lava. At the time, I noted the walkway was structurally unstable, but alas, my calculations are in the integral. Lord Sotha Seal deemed it uncouth to give my parts eyes, but each has a wide array of sensors. I can orient myself on Nirn by the air's smell and the earth's feel. Why, my pelvis even has gustatory sensors. I suspect that's Lord Vivek's contribution. I mean, of course, I have no proof that he had a part in my creation, but I like to think so. My dramatic flair, my poetic soul, it helps set me apart from the rest of my siblings. To sense, to touch, to feel what gifts I have been given.